What's up, Michelle? Okay, so here's the scoop. Our field trip is going to be to the Toronto Urban Field Studies Center. The program is called 30-Second Stories. I'll get into that a little later on, but what I want to know, Michelle, what's the cost of the trip?
The Toronto Urban Studies Center offers the student fee of $6 per student. However, for schools with an LOI number of 1 to 150, students pay $2.50 to attend the program. An LOI number stands for Learning Opportunities Index, and it ranks each school based on measures of external challenges affecting student success. Greenholm Junior Middle School has an LOI number of 29. Therefore, each student cost for the trip is $2.50. The total cost of bus transportation is $235.27, which works out to $7.84 per student, bringing the total trip cost to $10.34 per student.
You almost confused me with all those numbers, but the bottom line is $10, huh? Wow, what a bargain. Alright, so the location is 800 Greenwood Avenue, which is located in the East York District, which is known to a lot of people as Greektown. Curriculum connections. Alright, so for the curriculum connections for social sciences, the focus is on First Nation peoples and European explorers. This is connected to the grade 6 curriculum, of course. There will also be language components involved, such as writing, reading, oral, and visual communication. And for the arts, music and visual arts. We also need to keep in mind several board policies while going on a field trip. So tell me what you found out, Michelle.
When it comes to preparing for the field trip, teachers must keep in mind and address several field trip protocols. Each student's family must receive a guardian permission for excursion form outlining the purpose of the excursion, departure and return dates and times, travel arrangements, requirements for the student such as snacks and special clothing that might be needed, the description of the area being visited, and if the activities involved increased risk or special safety considerations, the financial arrangements, excursion staff, and of course, the form must clearly outline full and clear consent. Teachers must also remember that the excursion staff to student ratio should be 1 to 10.
And what about transportation rules and protocols?
Transportation protocols must also be met in regards to bus seating arrangements. Each student must be assigned a seat on the bus, and a copy of this arrangement should be left in the school office. Also, students must be familiar with bus behavior and emergency exit protocols. Another record called the Trillium List should also be obtained from the office, and a copy should be brought on the excursion. This includes important student information such as emergency contact numbers, if students take special medication, and also if the students have certain allergies.
Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward. So let me fill you in on more details. So, our big question for this field trip will be, how did the Aboriginal culture help shape Canada? So what we do is, our pre-lesson before we actually go on this field trip, we prepare our students by giving them prior knowledge of Aboriginal culture and its relation to trade and European settlers. Prior to the trip, students will be reminded of the important topics involving Aboriginal culture, which they will learn more about on the trip, and these are trade, origin of First Nation people, relationship with environment, food, clothes, shelter, and transportation, cultural character such as language and hunting, storytelling, recreation, and the role of men, women, and children. Students will be shown narratives on some of these topics. Prior to the program at the Urban Studies Center, students are required to develop their own stories, working in pairs, and complete a storyboard planner.
Prior to the field trip, students will be required to develop their stories using a storyboard planner. In line with the language curriculum, a storyboard planner will allow the students to identify and order main ideas and supporting details and group them into units that can be used to develop a structured and well-organized 30-second narrative.
Well, thanks for those details on the storyboard planner. I had no idea. Well, you know what else I found out? What's really great about the Toronto Urban Studies Center is that they provide all of the materials and resources for us, and that is really good because it helps us out with the planning. During the field trip, students will be inspired by the Toronto area and the First Nations peoples who lived here. Students will develop a 30-second flash movie with narration, sort of like the video that you were seeing, except there's going to be really cool things that they can do, like input animation and special effects. French immersion teachers can request for the materials in French and have their students write their stories in French. The video will be done in pairs and take about 2 hours to develop and complete with the help of the computer lab techs that will be present that day. After the field trip, the 30-second films will be burnt and sent back with the teacher. The students then will work with their partner and design a front and back CD/movie box cover. This could also be tied into the media arts, language arts, and visual arts. So what do you think?
Okay, Carlos, I think we have it all covered. Talk to you later.